The Niagara River Monster by Stacey Wetherwax. I like to walk along the edge of the Tonawanda Niagara River and its adjoining Ellicott Creek. Aspire's technology today found its home between these two freshwater rivers, and it was a cold October day. The waters churned madly in the high winds. Danielle and Kendra walked closely at my sides to block me from the bitter wind. Yes, I had the idea to go to Tim Hortons for a hot coffee, and get that idea a lot I do. Giving Danielle some of my hard-earned money, I sent her up the hill to get us 3 hot coffees. Kendra and I waited outside on the boardwalk. We watched the rising waves. Danielle was taking far too long. Even Tim Hortons at its busiest hour didn't take as long as she was taking. Kendra and I were beginning to worry. Go by?
Go by?
Go by?
Go by?
I asked Kendra.
I
don't know what could be taking her so long. Maybe she's in the bathroom. Let's go and see her, I said. Let's go and see her. We made our way to the Tim Hortons and did not see Danielle anywhere along the road, nor was she in the Tim Hortons or its respective ladies' room. Assuming she had bypassed us somehow, Kendra and I went back to the water's edge. We immediately saw 3 Tim Hortons coffees just spilled over there on the boardwalk. The spilled cups surrounded a purse that was clearly the one Danielle had been carrying. I was immediately terrified. I closed in on the shoe and the purse and the coffees, and I knew quickly that the situation was only getting worse. And there, in the water at the boardwalk's edge, there rippled a shining patch of dark red. Foaming blood was spreading out over the water. Kendra probably couldn't admit to what she was seeing. She said, Danielle must have gone off for lunch. That's what she did. I knew very well that Danielle would not go to lunch without saying goodbye. And if she did take her lunch break, she certainly wouldn't have left behind her purse, her shoe, and her blood. No way, Kendra, I said. Something is wrong. I turned around again to look up the hill, hoping to see Danielle's smiling face leading her down the hill from Tim Hortons, but she was not there. I turned my back momentarily and left Kendra behind me. In that instant, I heard Kendra saying nothing at all, which was rare. A creepy feeling came over me. I turned slowly, afraid of what I'd see. Kendra was gone. Her money lay there. All of her $35 to be exact, in the exact spot she had just been standing. Now, I didn't see any blood, but the Kendra I knew didn't leave that much money just lying around on a busy boardwalk. Finding myself alone there in the October wind, my friends suddenly missing, I had to scream for help, but there was no one around. Some jerk on a boat passed by along the Niagara River, but none of the crew members took notice of me. I couldn't just dive in the water to find them, but I tried to call for them. I called their names into the bloodied water. Kendra, Danielle, please be okay. Then I was yelling in the direction of the water's surface. There, I saw this mass of thick, coarse, brown hair poke through the surface. The hairs floated, and at first I thought it to be Danielle's lovely hair, but I knew it wasn't her when I saw the head beneath that hair was something like that of a gorilla mixed with an octopus. A bulbous head, blue-colored slits for eyes, leathery skin, but a beak for a mouth. And no nose at all. The head came out of the water completely, and its hideous eyes looked onto me. And for a few seconds I was frozen in disbelief of just what I was seeing. How could this be possible? The beak clacked sharply. A thick, black tentacle shot out from the water and grabbed the edge of the dock. Unlike an octopus tentacle, this monster had a deformed gorilla hand at the end of its hideous appendage, and the hand could have easily covered the length and width of my back. As the creature was pulling itself up to the dock's edge, I was worried, and more than I'd ever felt worry before in my life. The fear snapped me out of my fearful trance, and I turned on my power chair, turned it up to full speed, and sped along the boardwalk away from the creature. Poor Kendra and Danielle must have fallen victim to the beast. Still calling for help, I was speeding away, and I could hear the monster's sharp beak snapping rapidly behind me. I couldn't bear to look back and see it pursuing me. Surely I would have become transfixed in its horrificness again. I sped all the way back to Tech today. Rushing through the front doors, I found no one there. Everyone had gone home early for the day, I guess. And with Tech Tonawanda closed, I was all alone. Whom could I tell about my missing friends and the monster in the Niagara River? Who would understand me? I made my way to Tim Hortons, not to have coffee, but to ask someone to call for help. I went up to the counter. Help, help, I said, help. As best as I could pronounce, I said, help, help. But the kid behind the counter couldn't understand what I was saying. What's that, lady? You want a ham sandwich? No,
No!
I exclaimed. I was pointing in the direction of the Niagara River, where the octo-gorilla had taken Kendra and Danielle. I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't know what you're asking me, said the kid behind the counter. Next in line, please. What a jerk. I needed my iPad, but no matter how hard I pointed in the direction of my backpack, the dork who worked at Hortons wasn't going to know to take it out for me and put it on the table and turn it on so I could type him what was wrong. Now then, as if the day wasn't strange enough already, I looked over at a woman who was sitting alone at a table. This woman was the spitting image of the actress Agnes Moorehead. Now, if you don't know who that is, you'll just have to find out on your own. But she smiled knowingly as she brought her first finger slowly to the side of her nose. She was casting a spell. It caused my iPad to rise up out of its case and land gently on the table closest to me. I didn't have any time to question just what magic she'd been up to cause this to happen. I typed into the iPad and made it say aloud, help, I need help. Oh, okay, said the kid. Let me get the manager. The lady, who I assumed was some kind of magician or witch, came over to my table. She said rather nicely, what do you need, dear? With her close to me now, she looked even more like the actress Agnes Moorehead. My friends need help. At the river. At the river. Oh my heavens, said Agnes. Did they fall in? At that moment, rather than explain that I had just seen a monster that looked something like an octopus and a gorilla, I said, yes, yes. Anything to get someone to the water's edge to help me. But what if the monster was to attack the next person who came to the riverbank? It was frustrating not being able to explain the danger to this kind, older woman. Now first, the woman ordered the staff, call 911, someone's fallen in the river. The dork at the counter made the call right away. I grabbed the woman's arm and wheeled towards the door. I planned to take her to the river's edge, but not to get her too close. I didn't want her to be harmed. She might have been a witch or a magician, so maybe she could help me in some way. Agnes had some special sense. She knew something was wrong. She turned to me and asked, you saw it. You saw it, didn't you? The Niagara monster. I nodded. How could she know of the creature? Did everyone know about the octo-gorilla but me? She said, the creature comes back every 100 years. I remember first seeing it when I was barely 5. I marveled a moment at how youthful this woman looked for being 105 years old. She must have been a witch, but one of the good ones. My friends are okay? I asked Agnes. Are they okay? I'm sorry, dear, she replied gravely. Your friends are gone. I was heartbroken. My bottom lip stuck out farther than a diving board jutting out from the edge of a pool. I loved Kenrick and Danielle, and now they were just some monster's lunch, soon to be some monster's poo. Never a hug again from Kendra, at least not the Kendra who wasn't in the form of poo. Then, after I mourned there, under the cloud-laden October sky, I felt anger rising inside me. Rage like I'd never felt before. I wanted to kill the monster so it could never harm anyone again. Now, I'd never hunted in my life, though my brother Scott had done some hunting and killing in his time. Hunting, killing, and skinning was all new to me. Seeing my tears, Agnes held me close and said in a very comforting tone, "There, dear. I know what it is to lose a loved one to the octo-gorilla of Niagara. That prick ate my mother and father when I was only 5 years old. It orphaned me in one swift grab of my mommy and daddy, and I want him dead too. I'm sorry I didn't get him in time to save your friends, but we can get him now if we work together." Just then, an Aries van started to trundle down toward the boardwalk. The lady driver exited the adapted van and put on her surgical mask and said, "Come on, Stacey, we haven't got all day." Emergency vehicles began to arrive at the scene. They treated the case just like another standard drowning. No one believed me about my seeing the octo-gorilla. Agnes held me back from trying other ways to explain to the police. She said, "Don't bother, they won't believe you. We have to do this ourselves." A news team from Channel 7 arrived to cover the case. They interviewed me on camera. I said my name was Stacey Wetherwax and that I'd seen an octo-gorilla steal my friends away from me and drag them into the Niagara River. The reporter didn't believe me, of course. Agnes pulled me away and said, "They will only make fun. We have to do this ourselves, girl." Agnes sat beside me in the Aries van as Masked Girl drove us away from the boardwalk. The Channel 7 news team left the scene, went off to their next story. As the crowd cleared, and as my surgical masked Aries driver slowly drove us three away, I watched the water begin to churn. A whirlpool formed. Bubbles emerged. The octo-gorilla rose up out of the water and seemed to stand on the river's turbulent surface. One of its hideous appendages held soaking wet Danielle, bleeding from a head wound, and in the others of its tentacled hands a sopping Kendra, who gasped for air as she attempted to send a text through her smartphone. Kendra and Danielle saw the Aries van. Me and Agnes inside it. I yelled, "Stop! Stop! No!" But Mask Lady just kept on driving, saying, "We haven't got all night here, Stacey. My friends were alive. The octo-gorilla must have held them captive in some nest beneath the boardwalk, somewhere they could breathe." "Stop this van at once!" yelled Agnes. But her command was unnecessary. She had already begun to raise her finger to her nose and cast yet another magic spell. And the van not only braked, but the engine shut off completely. My masked driver didn't even know what was happening until she turned around to see the octo-gorilla climbing up out of the river with Danielle and Kendra in its horrible grasp. The monster stretched up on its 6 legs, with the other 2 legs holding the women, and it stood taller than 3 Aries vans stacked on top of each other. Shifting its weight to its 5 legs, the creature whipped another of its tentacles at our van. The deformed gorilla hand shattered the glass, reached directly for me inside the van. I thought right then and there that I was to be the creature's next victim. In an instant, Agnes put her finger to her nose again, and another spell was cast. It made the octo-gorilla's arm deflect away from me. Unfortunately, it went toward the masked Aries driver. It took the poor woman in its massive hand, yanked her, along with the driver's seat, right out of the van, and held her, still belted to the seat, up high above its hideous head. I saw the octo-gorilla's beak form a disgusting smile, and just as it bent forward to snap its sharp beak, Tara from my house arrived in the group home van. She stopped the van, got out yelling, "Where have you been? Where have you been? I just bought a 40-pound ham for dinner and we have to get home right away to cook it." She held the raw ham in her arms like a newborn baby. I saw the octo-gorilla see Tara. It froze and went silent. As silent as it could be there in the rough waters of the Niagara River, and at first I thought it was fixating on her, but as she moved around, I saw that it was not watching Tara, but the parboiled ham in her arms. That Niagara River monster wanted that ham. That gave me the idea just then. I told Agnes, "Take the wheel, drive along the 190 north alongside the river." I made Tara follow us and put the ham on top of the group home van. We sped off. The octo-gorilla followed us along the riverbank, running parallel with the highway. Danielle, Kendra, and Mask Lady grew tired of screaming as the creature somehow swam the length of the river with its 3 tentacles holding 3 of them above the water. Cars braked suddenly, turning off the highway, and the Channel 7 news team helicopter followed us. "How are we going to outrun it?" asked the witch, Agnes. "We are not," I said. We are going to bring it to the Erie Canal. It took us some 30 minutes to race to the main locks in Lockport. The 3 ladies in its grasp had passed out from the stress of the chase and now lay limp in the creature's arms. I had Agnes call ahead to the Erie Canal Operating Commission and tell them I had a sea monster on my tail and that they'd have to trap it in the deepest step behind the massive canal doors that were sure to trap the monster. Its tentacles would not be long enough to reach up and out of the trap, so I hoped. And the heavy concrete barriers would prevent it from swimming away and back to the river. But what was I supposed to do to save Danielle and the masked lady and Kendra? Now!
No!
I commanded. The creature had just entered the deepest part of the lock. The water began to go down. The massive concrete doors closed on either side of it, and so obsessed was the thing with the ham on Tara's van that it didn't even know at first that it was trapped. Then it did. It struggled horribly, crashed, made a terrible screeching sound. In its panic, it dropped the 3 ladies and plunged into the water. "We've got to get your friends out of there," said Agnes. I didn't know what to do. I looked for a rope or something they could climb up, but the 3 women were exhausted and barely even awake. How could they climb? Agnes said, "I can cast a spell to levitate them out of the water, but I'll need to eat part of that ham to build up enough energy to cast the spell." Well, I had no problem at all in letting Agnes have the entire ham. I hate ham, even ham with coffee on it. She placed her finger to her nose. She shivered, trembled, seemed to inflate. And then the 3 unconscious wet women hovered slowly out of the canal while the octo-gorilla desperately reached for the edge of the canal. But in vain. It didn't even notice them rising up to the edge where the spell rested them gently on the edge of the Erie Canal. They were at our feet. Agnes, Tara, and I went to the 3 women. Aside from a few cuts and bruises, they seemed fine. They were breathing. They responded to our questions. Kendra still bravely held her smartphone in the clutch of her hand. "Thank goodness you're all right." They all started to come back to life as the Channel 7 news team filmed the entire incident from its helicopter. It took several hours for us all to calm down with coffees. We finally got to sleep that night. Lying there in bed, I wondered what would become of the octo-gorilla. Could we keep it there in the canal forever and charge people admission to come and see it and have their picture taken with it like they would at the zoo? A million thoughts went through my head. If we kept it as a pet, what would we feed it? Hams and Aries drivers? Come morning, the octo-gorilla had escaped. No one knew how it got out at first. But as the waters slowly began to drain out of the canal, everyone could see that the monster had made a hole in the canal's edge breaker and made its way up the canal back to its home in the Niagara River. Since all this happened, I haven't been back to the river's edge for a walk. But I give warning to all those who walk by the river's edge. If you go walking by the water, be sure to bring a friend or 2 with you so the monsters of the sea have someone other than you to pull into the watery lair. And always find yourself a magical witch at a Tim Hortons before facing a mutant sea creature.